Suits in Monroe. We've got it all right here for you.
I want to say thank you for all you do, all you give us. We, your fans, we just love you. And you know.
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you so much. It's uncomfortable to get compliments to do something that you love doing so much, but I appreciate it.
The Voice of Detroit, Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m. There's always something new to talk about, and 910 AM Superstation wants to have you covered from every angle. So we're adding some familiar voices and strong opinions to the best talk radio station in town.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Riley, and I'm so glad to be joining the family at 910 AM Superstation. We're going to be talking about it all Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Don't miss it.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
He's a fireman.
Like it?
And when his pants came down, oh, Mom, you could play horseshoes on that thing.
On the next Mom, Christy's smoking hot boyfriend.
The French call the orgasm la petit mot, means the little death.
And you're a serial killer.
Is a smoking hot mess.
He drinks an awful lot.
What's the point of building a better life if you can't let a man treat you like a whore every once in a while?
Next Mom.
Tonight at 7 p.m. on WADL Detroit. 910 AM Superstation, constantly bringing you 50,000 watts of excitement and entertainment.
Let me tell you this, and I'm going to the lines. America will be destroyed soon unless white people learn to listen to somebody else. That's not white. As long as you white conservatives keep listening to conservatives, and as long as you old stepping, fetching, stupid Negroes keep acting like white conservatives care about you, let me tell you, I'm going to say it on there. Wayne Bradley, you a toy. You a token. You my brother, man. I got love for you. Congratulations on a new baby. But, man, you are a disgrace to your race. You are a disgrace to your race because you want to act like the Republicans actually listen to you, and you and I both know these white people don't take you seriously at all. You just a toy. You a yo-yo, Negro. They ring you out there when they need a black face, and they pull your Negro butt back. And when they get done with you, they're going to fire you, and you're going to have to beg for another job from somebody else. But I ain't hating on you. I'm just telling the truth.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. If the conversation is hot and the lines are jammed, give us a try at 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601. That's 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601.
910 Superstation is off the chisane.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit, and we want to hear what you have to say by any means necessary. 910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. 910 AM Superstation gives you the flip side, the real side. This is our side.
Are we on the air?
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media. You are listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show.
And welcome on a Sunday afternoon to the Wayne Bradley Show. It's your host, Wayne Bradley, and I'm feeling good, feeling wide awake compared to my Monday mornings and through the weekday 5 to 7 a.m. show. Feeling good here. So thanks for listening in on this wonderful Sunday. Another Sunday afternoon after a great Michigan State victory and a U of M defeat. Just doesn't get much better than that. And we're going to have a lively discussion today. We're going to talk a little bit about this congresswoman that has continued who engaged herself in what I consider a private matter, something that should have been between the family and the president and not between her and the media. Now, Congresswoman Wilson, who I don't think she was purposely in there listening to the call. I think that it was generally on speakerphone, and she was in the car, and she had a previous relationship with the fallen soldier. She had a mentorship program in Florida. So I want to disclose the good along with the kind of unfortunate about this congresswoman. She had a mentoring program that she had met the soldier, and so she was in the car. She had a real relationship with these folks, and she overheard the conversation with the president as he was giving his condolences to the widow. Now, during the conversation, he said something that kind of she took and rubbed her the wrong way. Now, personally, I think that is something maybe you would have had a personal conversation with the president about. Maybe that's something you say for your memoirs. Maybe that's something you do, even a week or two down the road after you're dealing with the funeral of the soldier. That's what the emphasis should have been about that day. That's what the emphasis should have been on that rest of that week, as far as my opinion is concerned. But no, this congresswoman decides to interject herself into the situation, decides to make it about Donald Trump, and turns the whole situation into something just totally negative. It becomes the president essentially said that he knew what he signed up for. That is the words that came out of that camp. That he said, well, that's what he signed up for, and that's it. Like, no, he didn't say anything else. He just called her. Let me give you my condolences. That's what he signed up for. But hey, I'm sorry. That's what they're trying to say that President Trump had said, when it was not like that. It was taken out of context in the deeper realm of the conversation. General Kelly actually stood up and said something about it, and I'm going to have the clips of both General Kelly's initial response to what was said, and then you're going to listen to the kind of what I consider the wackiness of this congresswoman who to me is enjoying the attention. The president has gone on to continue to call her wacky, and again, that's just more of a thing for me. It was the hats everyone was talking about, and I saw someone say, "Oh, they can't take her seriously because of the hats or whatever." And I just said she just reminds me of that auntie in the family that when you have a barbecue and you gotta tell auntie before you even get over there. Now, don't say nothing crazy to Lil John and his girlfriend, and she still goes up and says something crazy. The kind of person might call your girlfriend fat right to her face, say that so-and-so was pretty. That's the kind of person that she appears to be. And she's just messy. And that whole situation was messy. The media did not have to be brought into that. But she chose to do it and chose to brought herself some attention. So I'm going to let you hear what General Kelly had to say. And then I'm going to kind of give you some of what the congresswoman had to say here. So we're going to listen to the clip that General Kelly made.
And help in the rebuilding and recovery efforts. Eamon?
Thank you, Sarah. On the Fed chair search, the president once said that he considers himself to be a low-interest rate guy. Does he still consider himself to be a low-interest rate guy, and will that have any bearing on who he selects to run the Fed?
As the president said yesterday, he's interviewed a number of very qualified individuals, and he'll make that annouement in the coming days, and we can deliberate all of the details of that once that happens. I'm sorry?
Days, not weeks.
Days that do add up to weeks. So
let's see. Are you signaling anything there, Sarah?
Clarify back on the phone call real quick. What exactly is the president denying? Is he denying that he ever spoke these words to the widow that he must have known what he signed up for, or is he just saying that she took it the wrong way and was taken out of context?
The president's call, as accounted by multiple people in the room, believed that the president was completely respectful, very sympathetic, and expressed the condolences of himself and the rest of the country, and thanked the family for their service, commended them for having an American hero in their family. And I don't know how you could take that any other way.
He didn't say those words. It was the context. He felt that she put it in the wrong context. Is that it?
I'm not going to get into the back and forth. I think that the sentiment of the president was very clear. He took the time to make a call to express his condolences, to thank the family for this individual's service. And I think it, frankly, is a disgrace of the media to try to portray an act of kindness like that and that gesture and to try to make it into something that it isn't. Peter.
Sarah, did the president speak to his chief of staff, General John Kelly, before invoking his son's death and what has become a political argument?
I know he's spoken to General Kelly multiple times yesterday and today.
On this very topic, in other words, did General Kelly know he would be raising the issue of his son's memory when talking about
I'm not sure if he knew of that specific comment, but they had certainly spoken about it, and he's aware, and they've spoken several times since then.
Can you describe how General Kelly feels about it? Is he comfortable with the way his son's memory is?
I think that General Kelly is disgusted by the way that this has been politicized.
And there you go. That's the bigger issue, is that General Kelly and a lot of other people, I think that's what just best describes how I feel about it. It's just disgusting that that this soldier couldn't have been buried in peace without someone trying to politicize even the phone call of the president. And I think that that's what's been very, most frustrating with the president overall, dealing with the media here, dealing with these politicians, is that even something as simple as calling a fallen soldier's widow and making a call becomes something politicized. And General Kelly, who I'm sure did not want to be involved in that, who is actually a Gold Star family member himself, was disgusted. Like, wow, this is more about scoring some political points, some political gain, and the sad thing is that the Congresswoman herself called herself a rock star. That to me shows you everything, that this is not being taken seriously. She's and I'm not going to take away from any of the good things she's might have done in her community. She was a teacher, a principal. So at some point, yes, she was definitely involved and committed to her community, and I'm not going to question that as much as I am the fact that she tried to get some political brownie points by going after the president on what I considered should have been a private conversation that should have never left that car. That's really what the class and of being in Congress and knowing she was talking to the president. If the widow had decided to bring that out, then I would have respected that more. If the widow would have called the next day with all the things that she's got going on in her world right now, she's pregnant, has 2 little kids. If she had felt so disrespected and appalled by President Trump's call, and she'd made that statement publicly or went to the media and said that, then you know what? I would hope that the president would have just apologized and moved on. Now, I will say my president doesn't do a lot of apologizing. So that would have been something, that would have been something unique in that aspect. But I just think it's just been discussed in the way that the political left has tried to politicize such a horrifying situation. And, it's no one, you can say this Donald Trump's fault or whatever, but it's not. These are the Democrats out here trying to, and of course, this is, it makes it even worse that this is a black Democrat because, she, after John Kelly called her a empty barrel, now she turns that into a racial issue. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of politicians in the urban communities, when all else fails, when their attack isn't going right, and when they're not discussing policy in the correct way, they go to the race card. It's got to be about race. So it's just disgusting. It's unfortunate, and Congresswoman Wilson should be ashamed. That's what I said a couple of days ago, and I stand by that. She should be ashamed. If she's, I guarantee you'll see some fundraising letters coming out telling you to support her because she's being attacked by the White House. All these kind of this foolishness, and that's where I'm at. So give me a call. Let's start the conversation off with that 313-209-9000. We've already got some folks on the line. We've got Chris calling in. Chris, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Wayne?
All right. How you doing, my friend?
I feel great, especially after last night's football.
Oh, doesn't it feel good to be a Spartan right now, my friend?
Every day is a good day to be a Spartan.
Yes, indeed. And we're starting off the basketball season at number 2 in the country.
Oh, underrated as always.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Chris, what do you think about this Congresswoman? Kind of making a public spectacle out of this situation, where personally, maybe Donald Trump came off as a little lacking some empathy, or maybe he's not as sensitive. And I keep telling people this is a generational issue with the men from that age group compared to what they've made men out to be nowadays. More sensitive and caring and stuff. But that older generation, men just weren't like that anyway. And so
heck, I'm barely like that now.
I'm barely. That's what I'm saying. I'm an old school guy, but I understand now how we've got to be more sensitive or whatever. But Donald Trump is just not that guy. What did you think about this Congresswoman interjecting herself into this private conversation and taking it public?
For a brief bit, I was willing to, not pay too much attention and take her at her word because, I can't remember what state she's from. So it's like, she's not my congresswoman.
Right.
So I thought, it's some other state's problem. But, you look a little bit, and when she goes about and she breaks character and says, I'm a rock star now. And then it's like, oh. She reminds me of some other Congress people I know, and, either party, either way, whatever. It's like, great. It's just a fundraising letter thing.
That's what I said. I said at some point, if the letter hasn't already went out, I guarantee you in the next couple of days, there will be a fundraising letter saying that she's under attack by the White House. Send $20 to help her fight back. And that, and you could just
pretty much.
Yeah, you can see it coming right now. That's the direction they're going in. This is a fundraising mechanism. This is for publicity. I'm not saying that she doesn't care or didn't care about the slain soldier because she had a personal relationship with him before he was ever a soldier. But I just think it's disgusting that the way she's using this for political gain, Chris.
I think she's taken. I'm willing to say to take her at her word for the first part of it. I just think she's taking the feud too far, and it's like she could have been the bigger person, and just let it go after the secretary John Kerry. See that John Kelly. What's his title again?
He's the chief of staff.
He's the chief of staff because Matt is the Secretary of State and Kelly is the National Security Advisor.
Right.
McMaster's National Security Advisor. We have so many generals; it's hard to keep track of them without a scorecard. It's amazing.
Well, Trump likes his military men with him. Oh, these lines are blowing up, Chris. I think a lot of these liberals are about to call in and defend. I got a feeling that Congresswoman Wilson is about to get some defenders here on these lines here, but. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in because I just think it should have been a private thing and it should have stayed private. Like I said, if she wanted to write her memoirs down the road and say what happened, that's fine. But the week of the funeral,
they want to send her money, they can.
Oh, they're going to send her some money. She's a rock star now. She's a rock star, Chris. Thank you for calling in, my friend. All right, we're going to go to Kathy, who's on the line. Kathy.
Good morning, Wayne. I just had to call in. I haven't been listening to all the back and forth, but I did hear the original criticism of Congresswoman Wilson, is it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And I think it was appropriate. I think when you're speaking to a young widow who has 2 young children and she's pregnant,
right?
You don't remind her that her husband knew what he was getting into when he entered the military. That is totally.
But if you out of the context, if he said that we still honor him. And it's such an honorable thing. He didn't say it in a way like, well, that's it. He just dropped the conversation. I mean, I get what you're saying. At the end of the day, it was a more tactful or maybe more sensitive way he could have relayed that. But I just think that it should have stayed. I think it should have stayed a private conversation, or at least maybe a week or two later, maybe as opposed to knowing that the media is going to jump all over this and go after the wife and want to talk about it. She's grieving right now. Probably the last thing she wants to do is talk about a phone call from the president and have to either talk bad about him or defend him. She might not like the president, but the last thing she wants to do is have to get talk to the media and talk about that phone call, which would have had to be rough either way. Like General Kelly said, there's no easy way to make that phone call.
Right. But I think that was like putting salt on the wound or sticking a knife in her when she was already in severe pain over the loss of her husband. To make a comment of knowing that he was getting into in the military, I mean, that it just was unnecessary. Now, if the family member says that, if the family, the parents or the wife says that, well, he wanted to serve his country and he was willing to give his life for his country and blah blah blah.
Well, all soldiers are willing to do that.
That's the one.
I mean, all soldiers are willing to do that.
The one to say that, not the president. Not the president. The president should not say that. And I think he handled this similar to the way he has handled the travesty in Puerto Rico with the hurricane. He's been callous and, unsympathetic when he reached out to the people in Houston. But Puerto Rico is a different story, and I hate to say it, but I believe that our president discriminates against people of color.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the opinion, Kathy. I think that the media likes to report that narrative, but I think that the president has done a good job. Can do obviously a better job with Puerto Rico, but help is on the way, and they're trying to help those folks out down there. So thanks again, Kathy, for calling in today. I do appreciate it. All right, we're going to go to Michael. Okay. We're going to go to Michael, who's on the line. We got the lines blowing up. Call in 313-209-9000. Michael, you're on the air.
So, Wayne, check this out, right?
Mm-hmm.
After September 11th, what did we hear? Those firemen and police officers knew the dangers in that building, and yet they still ran in.
Yes, sir.
Did anybody condemn any politicians who said those firemen and police officers and first responders knew the dangers? Nobody did that, but they're trying to make it about Trump. You and I both know he didn't just say, "Hey, tough luck." He knew what he was doing. He said
it's ridiculous.
He knew what was going on, and he is so exemplary. Most of us will never serve. He actually knew the dangers. He had other options, and he still chose to serve. That is how I believe he said it. Now, CNN also has a audio of a black lady who Trump called as well, and she said he couldn't have been nicer. He didn't talk any politics. He actually researched my husband.
Knew everything about the family. Yep.
Yes. Now, your caller who just got off the line and said he's got a problem with black people. Did anybody from the city of Houston call and say we're dying while the president is dithering? Did anybody from Florida call and say we're dying while the president is dithering? When the governor of Puerto Rico had conversations with Trump, did he respond in a terrible way? But no, you have a Democrat liberal from the city of
San Juan. Yep.
Said we're dying. After she lied and said we were dying because of his incompetence, he fired back. He didn't just say that off the cuff. And what he tried to tell people is Puerto Rico was in financial shambles before we got there. So this hurricane didn't hit a home. Right. This hurricane didn't hit a city like Houston, which is built up. So this is the analogy I use. Houston and Florida are brand new homes and brand new cars. Puerto Rico is a home with a leaky roof and a B-lot car with an oil leak. And basically he's trying to say it's going to take us longer in Puerto Rico, not because we're not doing nothing, but because so much devastation
there was so many challenges, and it's financial challenges, it's infrastructure challenges. It was just way different. Even the logistics of it being an island are a lot different. So, hey, Michael, thank you for calling in and trying to help spread some truth with me. I appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. These lines are going crazy here. We're going to bring Yvonne on the line here.
Hello, how you doing?
All right. How are you doing?
I'm just great, honey. I'm glad you brought this up because I've been talking with my family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, everybody needs to stop, drop, get an Amy Vanderbilt book of manners.
Mm-hmm.
There's protocol in government and everything that you do.
Okay.
Everything has a protocol. Number one, people can disagree with this president. They can do whatever they want. But I don't appreciate them name-calling him, just dogging him out, saying whatever comes up, comes out. I don't think that's right.
Right.
I didn't like it when they disrespected Barack Obama, and I don't like it them disrespecting him. See, what has happened in America, we've gotten so callous and so rude, we don't respect the office.
There you go.
See, when you disrespect the office, it doesn't matter who's in there.
Right.
You're going to get disrespected.
And they're doing it for they're doing it for ads, for TV ads, and for just to make things more exciting in headlines and things like that. They're not doing it to report news. That's not news.
No, it's not news. And see, to me, I watch the show. I won't say every day they talking about this president as if he had a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm saying is, I did not vote for him.
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
support his policies. But while he's in office, let's give him some type of respect. Like I wrote my congressman and told him, go to the inauguration. That's protocol.
Amen.
Protocol. You got to always do what's right. You do what's right and let the other person do whatever they do. Like Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high.
All right.
See, if the Pope right now, the Pope did something we didn't like, nobody would get on television and talk about the Pope and call him names, cussing, or nothing like that. Because they respect the office.
Right.
We got to get back the mindset to respect the office.
Amen to that. Yvonne, thank you so much.
I think Donald Trump, let me just say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donald Trump would help the Democrats if they would stop attacking Donald Trump, the person, and start trying to deal with Donald Trump, the president.
Thank you. He's a deal maker. He is a deal maker.
Bring something to him.
Right.
You bring something to him. He's going to work if it makes sense. He's going to do it. Because we got to remember another thing. If you're listening, audience, he was a Democrat for years. He just was a Republican.
Tell him.
So he's a Democrat in his heart.
I love my informed callers like you, Yvonne. I hope you call back in. I'm on every morning from 5 to 7 a.m. I know that's kind of early, but I appreciate you calling in and get, like I said, giving a straight-laced opinion right there. I appreciate that.
And I thank you, too. You're straight-laced. That's why I called in.
Thank you so much. You have a blessed day.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Now, there we go. Now that to me is how, if politics and people thought more like Yvonne just called in, we would be getting more stuff done. Now, did you hear what she said? I want you to hear what Yvonne said, because this is what I call informed voters, people that are thinking about how we can get stuff done. That gives me hope. Is because she said, look, one, I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I don't even support all his policies. But you know what? One, my congressman, whoever that is, and I don't know if it was Conyers or Brenda Lawrence, one of the two, they should attend the inauguration. That's the first thing you should do. And I'm going to take it a step further because I've been saying this. Instead of protesting the man, go to the table. We can't, our constituent issues can't be at the table if our congressperson refuses to show up. If all they're doing is protesting, showing up in white and getting and sitting down, but not sitting at the table. You know, I saw Brenda Lawrence do that, resist, wear the white, like that's helping out the community. John Conyers, I don't know what he's doing. I'm not really expecting a lot out of John Conyers at this point, but he's a good man, but he's not I don't expect him to be too hardcore active, but at least Brenda Lawrence. Conyers has been through enough presidents that he liked and didn't like, that he could have went to the inauguration. I get it. But Yvonne had the point right there. Respect the office. Give the man a chance. The media, everyone is jumping on him and not giving him an opportunity to be great. That's the thing that's so frustrating. We got a lot of calls. So you can give us a call at 313-209-9000. I'm going to take one more call before I go to the break. I'm going to take John. John's been waiting on the line. John, thanks for calling in.
Ooh, Wayne. If you cut out your propaganda and speak the facts and the truth on the matter,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people will listen to you and so forth.
I'm not even worried about me. I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Okay. Forget you then.
Yeah, forget me. I'm small potatoes.
You don't call a widow and express those kind of words to when she's in grieving like that.
It was more disrespectful for her to call the news and have the media in that conversation.
You blame it on the news. You blame it on Trump. He's the one that was ignorant to the facts and so forth. That's what he was. And he brought up this John Kelly. John Kelly don't have no kind of integrity by himself now. He just showed how stupid fool he was getting up there with Trump like that. He had no business being up there with that man. Let him do his thing and let him, spread his own eagle. Now, John Kelly get him cover with this asinine.
John Kelly, what he did what any Gold Star family would do. He was surprised how political a phone call had become. That's what had John Kelly so.
He's a political amateur. It's a narrow-minded political amateur. Everything he do, it comes.
It shouldn't be that a phone call made to a widow. A phone call to a widow should not be politicized.
Wait, brother. Listen.
Go ahead, John.
The people down there was dying, man. People down there was dying. I mean, you just gonna tell them and let all the folks they dying like they died in a hospital down there in Florida, and don't do nothing. That man was out on the golf course playing golf for 4 or 5 days.
Oh, come on, John. You're not. Again, you're like the rest of the media. You're not being fair. You don't want to give President Trump to be great either. I tell you what, come on, John. Give the president a chance to be great so he can make America great again. All right, John. Thanks for calling in. We're going to go to the break here, and we'll be back. We got a couple callers. We got the lines are blowing up here. This is the Wayne Bradley Show. We'll be back shortly.
Giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative Political Radio. Giving you what
the body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy empowers your body's natural immune system to fight cancer. This is Jimmy Smits, and I'm here with Stand Up to Cancer. Immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. Be sure to catch Doing the D with Alexander Zonchek right here on 910 AM Superstation.
And you know what that means? Lots of cool stuff. Hey, if you love gospel and jazz and Motown cruises and holiday festival concerts in Monroe, we've got it all right here for you.
I want to say thank you for all you do, all you give us. We, your fans, we just love you. And you know.
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you so much. It's uncomfortable to get compliments to do something that you love doing so much, but I appreciate it.
The Voice of Detroit, Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I listen all the time. Great radio personalities.
The new mobile site is incredible. With the visual live feed, this is a whole new level for community broadcasting. I'm also very impressed with the Bible section present both in a written and audio format. 910 AM has really stepped it up to a whole new level.
Tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. There's always something new to talk about, and 910 AM Superstation wants to have you covered from every angle. So we're adding some familiar voices and strong opinions to the best talk radio station in town.
I'm Republican, from Detroit, and I'm black. Yeah, that's right. Different perspective, different view. Don't miss the Wayne Bradley Show on Superstation 910 AM.
From 7 to 9 a.m., we'll have the editor for the Detroit News, Nolan Finley.
This is the most volatile time in the country in my professional career. And, that generates a lot of news, a lot of stuff to talk about.
Followed by the one and only David Alexander Bullock from 9 to 11 a.m.
The People Show, man, we bring it to you live and in full effect.
The always insightful and controversial Steve Niebling from 11 a.m. to noon.
And I do want to hear from you what you want to hear from me.
Bankaley Thompson from noon to 2 p.m.
This is the platform where we delve into the facts and informed opinion. We ask the tough questions.
The Cliff Russell Show from 2 to 4 p.m.
I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care.
Spud from 4 to 6 p.m.
Detroit's only African-American talk station, 24/7 Spud is here.
Rochelle Riley from 6 to 7 p.m.
I want to stress that this adventure is about life in Detroit and Michigan.
And Cliff Woodards from 7 to 9 p.m.
So this is it, y'all. We are the only talk radio station for African-Americans in this market.
910 AM Superstation, the only African-American talk radio station in town. If the conversation is hot and the lines are jammed, give us a try at 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601. That's 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601.
910 Superstation is off the chain.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit, and we want to hear what you have to say by any means necessary. Every weeknight at 9 p.m. is something new and something fresh.
This is Todd Corser, and I want you to check out my show. Listen in and call every week as we explore government and hot topics. Tune in, raw and uncut.
This is attorney Michael Schwartz at 910 AM Superstation, and you can hear me every Tuesday night starting at 9 p.m.
Hello, Detroit. This is attorney Crystal Crittenden, and please tune in to my new show, The Truth Matters, on 910 AM Superstation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Mitchell, your host of Mind Your Business. Listen to my show live every Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m.
I'm Reverend Maya Lisa Reynolds, inviting you to listen to Mama Maya Speaks Friday evenings from 9 until 11 p.m. discussing education, motivation, and inspiration on Superstation 910 AM.
Different names, different voices, but the same energy. 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio.
And we're back on the Wayne Bradley Show on 910 AM, your Superstation. Just a reminder, you can always hear my shows podcasted right after the show on SoundCloud, iTunes, now even on iHeartRadio. So there is no excuse to not listen to the Wayne Bradley Show. We've got callers calling in. We're talking about Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who decided to make a private conversation public. So we're going to bring who we got here? We got Wendell on the line. Wendell, thanks for calling in.
Taking my car. I mean, you know what? Mm-hmm. Life is like school, my brother. Mm-hmm. You know what? That was what the president said. First things first. That's a given that you could possibly die in doing this. That's a given.
Right.
You don't have to tell nobody this, my brother. That was totally inappropriate. And as far as respecting the president, my brother, life is a big lesson. Hopefully, our president learned that you just don't go around, man, and making insensitive statements to people such as that. I don't care what you say. My brother, it was totally inappropriate for him to have said that to that woman. Again, hopefully he learned the lesson. Hopefully our president, the leader of our country, learned a lesson from the unnecessary statement that he made. Because like I say, again, brother, it's a given that your life is on the line. That is the first time I've ever heard anybody make a statement as cruel as that about a life.
But do you think that he really just said that and that's it? I mean, seriously, do you think that he just said you put your life on the line and that's it?
This is what I know. However, if he just said that or mentioned it, included it in the conversation, brother, he was wrong.
Okay.
He was wrong. Dead wrong. And you know something? Again.
That's your position that he just shouldn't have brought it up in the first place.
He shouldn't have brought it up, my brother.
Okay.
He shouldn't have brought that up, man.
That's fair, Wendell. I mean, like I said, it's one thing to say he shouldn't have brought it up, but do you think that the Congresswoman should have kept that conversation private as well? Do you think
I'm going to be totally honest. You know something? Hey, listen, everything he say is up for grabs, man. Everything he say. You understand something, my brother? He goes around and say what he wants to say. Right. You understand what I'm saying? He say what he wants to say, right? So he's in the arena where he better watch what he say.
I agree that he needs to watch what he says, but do you think that the Congresswoman, as a Congresswoman, this is not a reporter or somebody like that, this is another elected official, do you think that that was appropriate to release that information to the press?
You know what? Yes, it was, because he said it.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
All right, that's fair enough, Wendell. I appreciate you calling in and giving me your feedback on that. I tend to disagree, but I do appreciate you calling in. Thanks for listening to the Wayne Bradley Show. All right, we're gonna go to Rick. Rick's been on the line for a minute. Thanks, Rick.
All right, man. I'll see you later. Call me later.
Hey, Rick, you're on the line with Wayne Bradley.
Oh, I apologize. How you doing, Wayne? I apologize. I had your speakerphone and I had to turn you off.
Oh, no problem.
Now, the problem that we have is that we have a president right now who's still learning the job, who doesn't quite have the ability to respond to everything. His whole life, he's always been saying things and never been held accountable for what he says. But right now he is. He's in a completely different world right now. He said something and he's fact-checked. He said something, he's this. So you do notice that he hasn't been saying a whole lot. Other people talk for him nowadays. He's becoming quiet. They're pushing him back to say, hey, man, you say the wrong things. Maybe we should guard you and look at you as something that we should control. So that's what's going on right now. He's still learning the job. I wish he would do good. I wish he would make America great again, not the way that a lot of people say America was great again, like back in the 50s or 20s when they were murdering, lynching black people and everything was there and they didn't have that. That's not what I think America was great, and I don't think anybody else does either.
Okay.
But that's the perception that we're getting. So, like I said, I'm not a Republican. I'm actually a Democrat, but the problem is we have two parties who really don't care about black people in either direction, both of them. The thing about it is we have to make a choice as to which party you think is going to put you and your neighborhood and your financial situation in the best possible situation it could be. So
I'm okay with that.
The Democratic Party,
and it hasn't done anything for us. Would you agree, Rick, that putting all of our eggs in one basket for the last 50 plus years has netted very few results for the African American community? Because I don't see the return on investment.
I don't see anything either. I think black people were much better off when we were segregated. We were on our own. We had our own communities, our own buildings, our own businesses, our own schools. We were much better off. The minute we get into integrating and doing everything else, we've been in bad shape ever since.
And that's what we begged the government to do that, unfortunately. That's exactly what we sure did.
Right. We were led astray by leaders who told us to integrate. You know, together we stand, divided we fall, and divided we fail. We really have. All of our money, the people who have the money and the influential power, they move out to the suburbs next to their white friends. Not that they were moving there just to be in them, but they went there because their kids get better educations and everything else, opposed to staying where they were and making their communities better. We move out. We cause our own problems. And I really honestly think that we were better off when we were segregated. I really, really do. I'm not I'm not going to touch that either, but there's definitely that argument has been made a few different times. Right. And I don't know, Democrat, but I let the Republicans hold my money. That's what I'm saying. All right.
Amen to that. Thank you, Rick, for calling in. I appreciate that. The call-in number is 313-209-9000. The question is, should that Congresswoman Frederica Wilson have made that conversation public? Was this just another political cheap shot? You know, again, I predict that by this Monday or Tuesday, there will be fundraising letters being sent out. Help Frederica Wilson. She's being attacked by Donald Trump and the administration. Send in $20. to help us fight back. That's my prediction. So we're going to bring in my guy. I think this is my guy here calling in, Walter. Walter is on the line.
That's right. I'm back, man. Back to defend you as usual.
Thank you, Walter. How you doing, sir?
All right, man. I thought I'd give you a break, but I tell you what, I'm coming back strong. And some of these callers that call here, let's put it this way, all besides Michael and that one lady they call, I get all the rest of them an E and an F. And you got to watch out for these. You got to watch out for these black folks that call this station talking about I'm either Democrat or Republican. That's just code language for their. They vote for the Democrats. So,
no, I think sometimes what that is they're ashamed now that they actually had to call themselves Democrats. That's been the new mantra as of lately is that, hey man, I'm not really a Democrat or Republican. I'm more independent. But if you vote 99% of the time with Democrats, you're still a Democrat. It just means you're ashamed now to call yourself one, which I understand. I would be ashamed to call myself one too if I knew that they weren't producing any return on investment voting Democrat.
Yeah, these people, and by the way, when they make that statement, they're lying through their teeth. They know good and well they vote for the next Democrat to pop up on the scene, no matter how despicable.
And one of my good friends out of Alabama just reminded me that Frederica Wilson runs one of the poorest black districts in America. So while she's out high-siding and making all this noise, she's not delivering to her constituents whatsoever. Thank you, Arthur, for sending me that information.
Hey, can I say this real quick?
Yes, sir.
Frederica Wilson is about as big as liar and a fibber as Maxine Dirty Waters with the James Brown wig on. A serial liar. That's right. I said it again.
Hey, man, you're not going to get me in trouble with that one. I did not say that. My man Walter said that. I'm not taking credit for that one. You know, but it seems like Frederica Wilson basically told Maxine, like, oh, no, you're not the craziest one. Let me hold my beer. Let me show you how I get down, and decide to make a private conversation public. I mean, to me, that if the widow had done that, if she had felt that disturbed or that perturbed about that phone call and she called the media, I'd have been like, okay, well, I'm not challenging the widow here. But when I see a politician do it and the way she's done it and calling herself a rock star now, it just leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. Yes, sir.
Hey, but Wayne, she might as well go back to her little rat hole like the rest of them liars. So I'm going to tell you what. She is known for being a racist. Her history is racism and playing the race card.
Well, they all play the race card. They all. She said that after John Kelly called her an empty barrel, that was racist. And I'm like, well, how is that racist? You can call anyone an empty barrel if they're not.
She was probably at Al Shriveled Up Sharpton's house, and Barack was probably sitting right up in there with him, and Jesse Wilson, camera Jackson, he was probably sitting right there when she made that statement. I'm out of here, man.
All right, thank you, Walter, for calling in. I'm also on Facebook Live, and I'm seeing a couple of my peeps. Hey, Gina. Hey, Al, Anthony, everybody, Jeremiah. What's going on, everybody listening on Facebook Live as well? I like having that interactive audience. We're going to go to who's been waiting here. The lines are blowing up on this one because I think a lot of people feel probably the same way I do, or maybe they want to help Frederica Wilson and defend her foolishness. But the president called her wacky this morning. I think that's being nice. We're going to let's go to Stacy. Stacy's on the line.
Good afternoon, and how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing, Stacy?
My neck just snapped when you said give this dude a chance.
Give him a chance.
Have you forgotten how many lies? Wait. Have you forgotten how many lies that he's been caught into? And then when the secretary of the
what lies are these? What lies?
He's joking.
What lies is he being caught in?
His family had nothing to do about Russia.
You want to talk about Russia? Russia. What's happening with Russia?
Wilson, you know what? I give her credit. And you know what? I'm proud to be a Democrat. I am a Democrat from the word get-go, and I'm tired of this pimple bringing up Obama. Anytime he gets in trouble, he doesn't say he's sorry.
Well, listen, I wouldn't do that. If I get in trouble, I don't bring up someone else. I get that part. That might be a little frustrating.
If this man doesn't stick to scripts, he makes our nation look stupid.
Oh no, I think what makes our nation look stupid is that you have a media that's going after a president that won't even give him a chance. We look stupid when you have elected officials that are running to the media to make a story when there's not a story there. This should have been a private conversation.
I was just watching this morning about the young the man that was on the Democratic table when they were having the debates, and he says that the dignity and the generation of our nation has fallen. And his son was also in the Marines, I believe, and he was fallen. And Donald Trump, during his campaign, put this person down left and right. Have you forgotten what this man has done? Let alone, he's not fit to be president.
See, there we go. That's another one of these opinions. I don't mind. We all have opinions. What do you mean he's not fit to be president? Are you a licensed psychologist or something? How are you making that judgment?
Yes. You know what? Okay, I'm 63 years old, and I've never, ever seen so much chaotic in the president, in the White House, in my whole entire life.
I think it's the media and the way they're reporting it.
When I go to sleep, I'm wondering, okay, because this priest told him in the White House that it's okay to kill the guy in North Korea, are we going to be at World War III?
We should be worried about that anyway. The guy from North Korea is threatening to kill us many times, and he's been testing missiles. Do we wait? This is the question I would ask to you, Stacey.
Any intelligent president who goes through all the other different countries that can help us.
I think Donald Trump is doing that as well. I think he's putting pressure on China and Russia to put pressure on China and Russia towards North Korea.
Have you ever heard any other president that's been in office call people stupid, dumb, and name call them? No, they're more educated in speaking.
You're right. They've been more elite. They've been the elites of America, and the elites of America are the ones that have gotten us into these debts. They're the same ones that have gotten us into these conflicts in the first place. So yes, you're right. President Trump does not talk like the former presidents, all these elites, but that's because Donald Trump represents the people. The people elected him. And he represents them. He does not represent the elites. And so you're right. He doesn't talk just like President Obama and President Trump, and President Bush.
His vocabulary, because he talks like a six-year-old.
That sounds like some elitist type of statement. I think the man, he was educated in some of the best schools in America. So to say that he sounds stupid when he's just talking what I consider common language amongst the people, so people understand him, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, well, what do you think of this one? People have to be careful because at some point I fight back. Is he talking about the people that elect him or the people that are against him?
He's letting everyone know that, whoever his enemies are, that he does fight back. Unlike some of these other presidents, and in particular with the Republican Party, because we're so nice and we're so docile. We don't want to get into fights with the media, and we for years have let the media control the narrative that we're racist and we're this and we're that. Donald Trump fights back. And as a Republican, I like that.
When the media fights back to Donald Trump, you know what they say?
The media is benefiting for all the fights that they're creating with Donald Trump.
When they sit down there, I've seen it. When they sit down there and they have a conference, what they do is if they don't know the answer to come back to defend Donald Trump, that he was in the right or this, they say he was joking.
All right. Well,
Stacey, you don't joke about a person's life, and I commend that congresswoman because this dude is a liar. And
you are giving her credit for something because you just said earlier you're a Democrat, so that's fair. Fair enough, Stacey. Thank you for calling in. We got a couple more. We got a lot of calls here on the line. We're going to go to Steve. Steve is next. Steve, thank you for being so patient.
Hey, Wayne, how you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, the last lady, shouting all kinds of talking head bullet points with no facts, of course. But I want to tell you something. I really admire you because you think out of the box.
Got to.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question. It's a little off the subject, but I heard someone on this station a few days ago a terrible indictment of you.
Oh yeah, you know what? We're not gonna get that person any publicity on my show. I don't know nothing about it. I haven't heard anything about that in the last couple of days. Yeah, we don't promote that.
It was sick.
But you know what? That's what people do nowadays. I guess if you talk, and I appreciate people keeping my show relevant because I'm only on from 5 to 7 in the morning. So if people want to talk about me, that's fine. But I'm not giving that any shine on Wayne Bradley show.
Man, I want you to know I respect you for thinking out of the box and saying what you really feel, regardless of what the what the agenda might be for certain groups of people. You're a thinker. You're a more private thinker.
Yeah, we're not promoting that WWE over here. You know, if that person, all he has to do is call me. You don't have to hop on the radio and do that. So that's all good. Hey, Steve, thank you for calling in. And like I said, you're right. I appreciate you calling in. You got to think outside the box because we've been in the box too long. So thanks again, Steve, for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go to Mark. This is our last call before the break. We're going to go to Mark. Mark, thank you for calling in.
Yes, okay, Wayne. Yes, do you think it's appropriate for the president, the man that should not highest office in the land, to call people's names, just people that he disagrees with, and he calls them names? Do you think that's appropriate?
I could do without that, but he's consistent. He does it with everybody. He does it with Republicans, Democrats, and apparently that's what he's always done. I think it's appropriate? He's the president. He can do what he wants to do on that. I don't have an issue with that. It's not getting in the way of getting policy done. So that's, to me, is a bigger issue. Would I do that? No. But that's the president. He's a different individual, and that's what the people elected. They have elected him to be a different individual. They didn't elect him to act like President Obama or President Bush.
You opened the show saying it wasn't appropriate for the Congresswoman to speak on the private conversation.
So are we saying two wrongs make it right, or is that the reality?
No, what I'm saying, but we're talking about what's good for the gander is good for the geese.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I get you. But this is totally two different things. I mean, President Trump, when he's calling someone a name, he's doing it publicly. It's not in a private conversation. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so when he calls someone a name, he's doing it on Twitter. He's doing it wherever he's doing it. So he's doing this consistently publicly. He's not doing it in a private conversation and then someone exposing it. So, I mean, I think those are two different things. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those are two different things when they're doing that.
Okay, you're a good explainer, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you had a call in that said, about her district and there's a court district and she ought to do this and do that in her district.
Which is typical for all, these districts.
She has been doing stuff in her district. It's like you open up with, she's mentored this young man.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not the first soldier she's lost that she mentored over there. So she's been doing something for years before she even became a congresswoman. And
I acknowledged all that. I did acknowledge that, Mark. I acknowledged that she's not like someone that hasn't done anything.
What I want to know is what makes her an empty barrel, a wacky woman, a crazy woman.
Because, one, she decided to make that conversation. She decided to make that conversation public. That's what. And then, the wacky thing is, I guess, it's a jab at these crazy hats she wears every day. But that's, again, I'm not going to continue to go over that. That's a personal joke thing.
Laura wears or Sheriff Clark wears. I never hear you guys talk about the hats they wear.
Listen, I think the bigger issue is, and then she's on TV talking about she's a rock star now. It's nothing to make a joke about. She's when you see those fundraising letters coming out on the next couple of days, then you realize this is all a joke. This is all to raise money and to say that she's fighting President Trump, and so she can raise some money. And it's sad. It's sad that they couldn't let this, again, if she wanted to talk about this in her memoirs, or even if she wanted to talk about this a couple weeks from now, but she shouldn't have done it right now to bring attention to this widow who has to sit here and answer questions that she didn't intend on when she wants to just mourn to herself. So, Mark, that was what my issue was. I do appreciate you calling in.
If you had been listening to her when she first spoke, she said because widows told her how disgusted she was when she still did not
have to take that to the media, Mark. That's what I'm saying. She did not have to take it to the media. But again, this is what these politicians do, in particular in the CBC, because they're not doing any legislating. They're working for their constituents. So the only thing they can do is pick a fight with the president and then come back to the district and say, I'm fighting the president. I'm fighting the man. I'm fighting these Republicans. Send me $20 to do it. That's what she's doing. So it's unfortunate, Mark. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Hey, listen, we're about to go to a break here on the Wayne Bradley Show. I appreciate you listening in. We'll be back in a second.
Lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show.
910 AM Superstation, giving you exactly what you need by any means necessary. Thank you for calling 910 AM Superstation. What's your question or comment?
Calling in 910 is great, but I think we need an actual forum with people of substance that want to stop what's going on. You mentioned something about demand grind. My son just turned 16. Don't think for a minute. I don't think about that every minute of the day. The protest is fine. We got to get together, funding, whatever, to stop this.
We don't even expect the people with the problem to be involved. We expect people to be there who got a pile of data and say, well, this is what's happening, and we need to do this and this. And then when it's time to go to the legislature, they don't have any support because they built it all themselves. So I think if we just start with defining the problem and allowing people to have their share in there, I think we'll go a long way in improving organizing and advocacy for the average person.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
He's a fireman.
Like it? And when his pants came down, oh, Mom, you could play horseshoes on that thing.
On the next Mom, Christy's smoking hot boyfriend.
The French call the orgasm la petit mot, means the little death.
And you're a serial killer.
Is a smoking hot mess.
He drinks an awful lot.
What's the point of building a better life if you can't let a man treat you like a whore every once in a while?
Next Mom.
Tonight at 7 p.m. on WADL Detroit. 910 AM Superstation. We're bigger and better than ever and growing daily.
I'm Dr. Taylor. This is my inaugural show. Just a few things about me. I'm happy to be here to be part of the Superstation team. This program, we want to talk about addiction, which is a really broad subject. It covers a whole lot of things. I ask you to call in if you want to talk to me on the air about anything. We have online Sandra.
You have been my mentor for years. I look up to you, and I talk about you all the time to people. I think that what you've done proved to other people that they can do whatever they want to do with their life. And that's helped me get back up, too, because I was an alcoholic at one time. And I've been sober for 12 years on September 15th.
910 AM is the gold standard for talk radio. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I listen all the time. Great radio personalities.
The new mobile site is incredible. With the visual live feed, this is a whole new level for community broadcasting. I'm also very impressed with the Bible section present both in a written and audio format. 910 AM has really stepped it up to a whole new level.
Tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. Be sure to catch Doing the D with Alexander Zonchek right here on 910 AM Superstation.
And you know what that means? Lots of cool stuff. Hey, if you love gospel and jazz and Motown cruises and holiday festival concerts in Monroe, we've got it all right here for you.
I want to say thank you for all you do, all you give us. We, your fans, we just love you. And you know,
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you so much. It's uncomfortable to get compliments to do something that you love doing so much, but I appreciate it.
The voice of Detroit, Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m. We're the hottest station in town. Whatever you need, it's right here on 910 AM Superstation. The most powerful voices in the urban community. 910 AM Superstation gives you the flip side, the real side. This is our side.
I believe. Are we on the air?
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show.
And welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show live on 910 AM, your Superstation. Make sure if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you do so at Conservative Bro. And you can also get all the podcasts of the show at conservativebro.com, SoundCloud, iTunes, you name it, YouTube even. Right, an hour later, all the shows are usually there that you can get all the content to. So in case you missed it. All right, so we're going to go to our few calls. We got a few more calls here that we're probably calling on the Trump thing. After we talk about this, we're going to talk a little bit about this whole Playboy situation, because I'm just hurt as a man, and just things are changing so quickly on us out here. Let me go to Clayton. Clayton, you're on the line.
How you doing? Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, now here's what I'm gonna qualify myself, and I'm going to say my full name. My name is Clayton Williams.
Go ahead, Clayton.
And I'm I'm finished Wayne County Community College, and I had in what you call advanced robotics, and that means we do critical thinking.
Yes, sir.
Now, of all the three players, President Trump is the most innocent of all of them. Now, I'm going to tell you, if I say about 40 or 45% blame go to Miss Wilson, and 50, a little bit more go to Mr. Kelly. I mean, and let me explain why.
Go ahead, Clayton.
It just was I think it was an unfortunate thing that when Donald Trump, he really called to give his congratulations, it just so happened to be in the President Wilson. She was just there in the mix of it,
right?
And I overheard a lot of the conversation. But Trump was just being Trump. He didn't mean no harm.
Right.
He just said that you know what you signed up for, but that don't hurt either way. And I'm gonna tell you what he meant.
Go ahead.
He wasn't just an ordinary soldier. That man was a Green Beret.
Exactly.
A Green Beret means that 100 men out of every 100 men they test, only 2 of those men make the Green Beret.
Okay.
So he was highly qualified, and he got on special mission, and he knew all the risks this man did.
Right. Now, I think realistically, any man that's in the military, if they're out in the field, they know that there's that risk. And I think that he was in the process of sending his condolences. He was saying how brave the man was. He wasn't trying to.
That's right.
He wasn't trying to down the down soldier and make the widow feel worse. He's saying that man signed up knowing that he could die.
Yeah, that's right.
And he served his country honorably.
Right. Now, Trump could have said it a little more flowery, but he ain't.
That's just not him. That's not him. I agree. I can accept the fact that he doesn't have the sensitive chip that they want out of today's man.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's what they expect out of today's man. Be sensitive, be a little more understanding.
Yeah.
Donald Trump just doesn't do that. Like I said, I grew up, my father's like that. You know, you could cry in front of my dad. He was like, all right, get over it. You'll be all right. You know?
Right.
He's one of those guys, when people are passing away in the family, my dad's the first guy. All right, well, we got the paperwork together.
Yeah.
Are we planning things out? He's not worried about the feelings right now. And I think that's Trump he's not even probably that bad. Trump was giving his condolences, and this congresswoman decided to make it a political issue, something that she could get some burn off on TV and things like that.
But let me explain this point of view for her point of view now.
Go ahead, Clayton.
Here's her point of view. She was on this is what her point of view was. That particular family, she was personal friends of that family.
Mm-hmm.
They ate together. They wine and dine together.
Right.
The boy came out of he came out of her mentoring program. He mentored him. And so when he heard when that lady took it wrong, the mama then got to holler out of context. She just got emotional and took over the conversation, which she shouldn't have done. She's a congresswoman, and should have been more professional. That's number one. Now, number two, the reason why I give Kelly the more blame, he did 2 parts. The first part of his speech was right on. They Gold Star soldiers. He explained the situation when the soldiers come home, how they put them on ice and everything. That was beautiful. But he went and took it too far when he went 4 or 5 years earlier and said that when she dedicated that building, she was doing grandiose, and that was a lie. They checked that tape out, and Kelly was wrong. She wasn't grand. She honored the soldiers. So he went a little too far. So I give Kelly, about 50% of the blame, and I give the other lady about 45%. They both, so I split it down the middle. But the person that was innocent of all of it was Donald Trump.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Clayton, for bringing that clarity and critical thinking to this conversation. I appreciate it, my brother.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go to Olaf. Olaf is on the line. Olaf, thanks for calling
Wayne,
in.
how you doing, brother?
All right, how you doing?
You all right, dog?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Right, my man. All right, you're the only Republican I ever had love for, right?
I always appreciate it, brother. I need the love nowadays. There's no question about it.
For sure. This is my take on it real quick. Then I want to go to the local politics real quick.
Go ahead. All right.
Miss Frederica, that was apolitical, what she did. You know what I'm saying? And that was a move for her to shine, too, at the same time, which, at the same time, I really don't blame her. As a Democrat, that's what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to do her job. She's supposed to make Donald Trump or whoever that Republican president is who would be in office to look bad. And I give her that. That's her job to do.
Right.
And I give her credit on that. She's got a lot of heart. I'm going to tell you something, because she's got, as a Democrat slappy, and I am, indoctrinated by the Democratic Party.
Right.
She's got a lot of heart. And that's my take on it, because she's got a lot of guts. She's got more guts.
But don't you think she did? Don't you think Olaf? Don't you think she could have?
Nancy Pelosi, or Tom Perez,
right?
Or that Uncle Tom, mayor in Chicago, was in that car. They wouldn't have said a damn thing. They'd have kept their mouth shut and kept everything hush.
Well, I think that there's a time and a point to do that. Don't you think maybe, just maybe, just roll with me here on this. Maybe she waits a week or two to reveal this. Not the week of the funeral. And so now the widow, instead of just worrying about the grieving and the things that she has to deal with her two kids and one on the way, instead of her having to deal with that, she's dealing with the media requests to get her story on what Donald Trump said. You see what I mean? And now Donald Trump has become the story, not her husband who gave his life serving for the United States. Now it's about what Donald Trump said to her. And I just think that she could have waited. I agree with you that her job, but now see, and I love that you're being honest about this, Olaf, because, people were so bent out of shape when Mitch McConnell and those guys said that about President Obama, that they wanted to make him a one-term president. Well, that's what this congresswoman, that's what they're trying to do, right? And so it's not, when Mitch McConnell and them did it, they said, oh, that's racist. They won't give that man a chance. Well, they're doing the same thing now as Democrats. They have no interest in working with the president. They have no interest in coming together, even on the health care bill, which I think that they would be better served in doing, because at some point, if they don't come together and negotiate, and certain Republicans will let it die. I don't think letting it die is good for America. And so it's got to be a way that we can work together. And Democrats right now are more vested in playing political gamesmanship than they are about working for the people. And I think that is my issue with this congresswoman. Not that, in the high stakes game and the blood sport of politics that she didn't go for the jugular and try to make Donald Trump look bad. But I think that she could have made Donald Trump look bad a week from now, 2 weeks from now, with that same story, without having to do it the week of and not making it this about Donald Trump instead of honoring that soldier.
Yeah, you're right, Wayne. But see, a week later, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have made it look.
I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, if she came with this story next week and says, you know what, I wasn't going to say anything out of respect for this woman, the widow, and their family, but it really upsets me now what happened. It would have, the same story would have been here that, oh my God, President Trump told this poor widow that he knew what he signed up for, and that's what the story would have been. And I think that that's my issue, is that, at least let the woman grieve before she has to go into this and make it something, let her grieve with her family before she has to sit here and fight with the media and answer questions about Donald Trump, because this was not about Donald Trump. This was about that fallen soldier. So, Olaf, I appreciate your honesty. Go ahead.
Tuesday. We both, now listen, bro, Tuesday, we both agree on that. It was apolitical. She could have waited, but she was doing her job at the same time. So, two wrongs don't make it right. But look, check this out, brother, real quick, on the mayoral's race.
Yes.
I like Coleman, and I think I told you this before. I think this is a bright brother. I just think he's being led the wrong way. This old cat.
Whoever told him to run for mayor.
He needs to sit down and take his share talk. And by him bringing out these racially charged videos and commercials,
it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help his cause.
All that black and white stuff, man. Come on, man.
Nah,
man, go by your own morals. Go by your own
now,
what you've done.
What I find interesting about that, Olaf, that there are some people that led him to run for mayor, including some folks that have hosted radio shows on here that have convinced him that he should have run for mayor. And once he ran, a lot of these people scattered. They weren't there to help him out.
Yeah.
That to me, it's unfortunate.
He's getting no money.
He's getting not a dime from anybody.
Down the wrong path.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should have considered running for city council, to be honest. I think that would have been a more strategically tactful move, where he wouldn't have been faced with the challenge of raising the kind of money he's going to raise for mayor. And then he could have built his brand of being Coleman Young, city council member, city servant. And then in 4 years, when Duggan is, maybe he's ready to do something else, or maybe whenever he decides to not run for mayor again, now he interjects himself at a point where he can show a track record of leading in Detroit, because I just don't see the leadership in the Senate where he would say, okay, I've done X, Y, and Z in Senate. Now I'm going to apply what I did in Senate to mayor of Detroit. And it just doesn't correlate even in experience. So I think if he would have ran for city council.
If he was down there,
if he'd have been in city council.
For 10 years, and you weren't able to get our insurance lowered, if you weren't able to bring the money here to this city.
Tom Leonard. It's a shame that Tom Leonard. It's a shame that all these Detroit caucus members are going to. I don't think it's a shame because I'm a Republican. I'm very proud of it, but I think that it's telling that Tom Leonard and the Republican Party are the ones that are going to possibly get this insurance deal done. And you know what? The people that are stopping it right now are some of the same Detroit caucus members that don't want this insurance deal to go through. Now, you have the mayor standing there. You have Wendell Anthony. You have all these people standing with Tom Leonard, and it's the Detroit caucus that's getting in the way of getting this insurance done. And so it makes no sense. And you know what they're going to do is they're going to come back home and say, hey, we fought a good fight. It just didn't make sense to us, yada, yada, yada. But they're not working to get it done. Because if there is something you don't like about it, work to improve that. Don't just kill the bill. And I think that those are the kind of things. And I think, again, Coleman Young, if he ran for city council, I'm sure he would have had a lot more support. And he wouldn't have been going against Duggan, and you wouldn't have to make all these racially charged commercials. And we're going to go to that racially charged commercial probably in the last half hour here, because I want people who haven't heard it to hear this foolishness.
It's not a good look.
And let the people hear it, and so you can see where this campaign is going, because this has been the only defining thing that he has going. He's the black candidate in the race, and Duggan is the white candidate.
Man, that's Al Fongo lead him down the wrong road, brother.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of that. That's a very much he's listening to folks giving him old school advice, and that's just not. The race baiting politics is just not working right now. It's not applicable because Duggan has done a lot to empower a lot of the black people that work around him to get the work done. And to me, I admire that. I know a lot of people that work with Duggan's team, and he empowers a lot of folks to get work, the work done for the city of Detroit on behalf of Detroiters. He empowers, and most of them are African American. So thank you, Olaf, for calling in and giving some of that insight, man. I really appreciate it.
Go ahead, brother. We'll take it next week, man.
Definitely.
100. Much love to you.
Much love, bro. All right, we're going to go to Ray. Ray, my friend's calling out of Grand Rapids. Thanks, Ray, for calling in today.
Hello, sir. You're doing an outstanding job. I want to first say, man, you take a lot of flack, and I really admire you for what what you get and how you take it.
Like a personal pinata. I'm like a personal pinata to a lot of people right now. A political pinata.
Yeah, absolutely. You typically are. So I admire you for that. I tell you, first off, I do not believe for a second that it's somebody's job in one party or another to constantly disparage the president if he's another party simply for the sake of doing it. I don't believe for a second that's a Republican's job to disparage Obama just because he's the Democrat, or nor do I believe it's this Congresswoman's in Florida's job to constantly try to make the president look bad. I think that is.
I think they should work for their constituents and not worry about trying. But let's be honest, Ray. Both sides do that. I'm willing to be honest and say that we definitely had congressmen that focused on really trying to make not working with President Obama. I mean, I'm okay with saying that at this point. They weren't trying to help the Obama agenda be successful, and I think. But the difference is that they did it legislatively for the most part. They did it in the Capitol. Right. They did it on the Hill where they just didn't vote for stuff and all that. But they didn't go out trying to make.
Really is it? I just don't think it's her job to. Basically, she may have been. It may have been his exact words, but she even from the very beginning tried to morph it into he was being sarcastic with this widow. That he was deliberately saying something to her in a mean fashion.
Right. That's the part I didn't like either. I didn't understand that. Like, so what are we supposed to, are we really sitting here to believe that President Trump went out of his way to call this widow and then try to make the situation look even worse? I don't get that. What would he have to benefit by that?
There's nothing, and there's no way that was the case. And in my opinion, what she did is she lied. She made it. She tried deliberately to make it bad, and that's. And on top of that, the truth is, in my opinion, even if he had said it that way, which is virtually impossible that he did, but even if he had, it's like you said. There's no way that this woman that she should have put this widow on blast like that and put her in a position
where she has to now defend herself or defend
the media,
defend Trump or throw Trump under the bus. She might not want to talk about it at all. I mean, she might have been personally upset by the conversation, but that doesn't mean she wants to go to the media about it. You see what I mean? And that's what I have a problem with Congressman Wilson about as well.
Right. It was ridiculous. And as far as the General Kelly, he poured his heart out. And in every part of that, he was pouring his heart out. And him talking about the Congresswoman and what she did or didn't do at that FBI building and, the dedication was his take on her. That's how he remembered the event.
Right.
And he was trying to put in context his take on this Congresswoman and his opinion that his words, he was saying that she's an empty barrel, which is saying that she is just loud with nothing real to say. And
then they turn that. She tries to turn that into a racist statement. That's today's incredible atmosphere. That if you criticize someone of another race, that you're automatically racist, and in the assumption of that, and it's sad, and we need to get away from it. And she's just like you said, she's playing to the choir. She's running up her numbers, and I guarantee, Ray, that the fundraising letter has already been sent out. I guarantee it. The fundraising emails have been sent out.
She really believes that she has helped herself. She thinks that she's helped herself in her upcoming elections, but the truth is, she has stirred up the entire Republican and conservative base to send money to whoever her opponent is.
Right.
And whether or not they have a chance in her district, I don't know. But the truth is that person is going to get all kinds of play off of this, more play than she got, and that's how I see it.
All right. Well, Ray, thank you for calling in all the way from the Grand Rapids area. I appreciate that, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
No problem, sir. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. We're gonna go to Keith here. Keith is on the line calling in. Keith, thank you for calling in. Keith, you got to step away from the radio. Can you hear me? I think Keith has forgot that he's on the line on the Wayne Bradley Show. All right. Keith, can you hear me?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing, sir?
Okay. It sounds like you defend Donald Trump no matter what he says and no matter what he does.
I'm not defending him. I'm criticizing this congresswoman for making a private conversation public.
I'm just saying, for most of the time when I hear you, you're always talking about how great he is. Mm-hmm. Oh, he was just joking. He was just this.
Because I believe the media tries to exploit and make a big deals out of essentially nothing burgers most of the time. This right here is a disgusting display of the Congresswoman's fault. It's not the media is just biting on what someone feeds them. And this Congresswoman decided to make a private conversation public.
Wouldn't you do better if you was on Rush Limbaugh? I mean, I heard what's his name? The guy called. He said sometimes the guy called him and said, he perceives you as a white guy and a black skin.
Who said that?
And then he said, a guy called you and said, I see you as a white guy with black skin. Talking about you.
Oh, you talking about one of these other hosts? Talking about one of the other hosts. Okay, yeah, but they doing that for WWE purposes. We got to promote the radio station, so I appreciate him promoting my show and putting my name. But no, I'm not a white guy with black skin. I don't follow along just for the sake of doing so. And what I'm saying is that in certain instances, I don't defend the indefensible. Okay, I wasn't defending him during Charlottesville. Wasn't defending him. I'm not defending him on this thing with the NFL. But this right here is ridiculous. He called to give condolences to that wife.
He said, Donald Trump said that black people, SOBs and
no, he didn't say black people. He called some NFL players that stood up as SOBs, and I thought that was not necessary. But I've told people before that I believe that a lot of his frustration with the NFL stems from a period long ago when he wanted to be an NFL owner, and they didn't allow him in the club. And now they're paying a price for that. That's what this is about. It's not about, standing for the flag. I'm sure it's part of it now. But I've always felt that Donald Trump, he wanted to be an owner in the 80s. They wouldn't allow him to get in there. And he wanted to be an owner of the Buffalo Bills in 2014, and they wouldn't let him get in there. So Donald Trump's beef with the NFL has nothing to do with that.
I think you defend him no matter what.
I just told you I didn't defend him on certain things, so I don't understand that. What you're talking about?
Hail to the chief, right?
He is the president, isn't he?
Oh, man.
Is he not the president, Keith?
I agree with Bill Lockwood. I think you are really a disgrace.
You agree with who?
Reverend Bullock.
I don't even know him. I don't even know him. Who is that? We're going to have to figure out who that is, man. We're going to have to figure that out. We're going to go to the next caller here. We don't promote these guys on our show. We're going to Bob. We're going to go to Bob next. Bob, welcome to the show.
Well, Wayne, I got a pop-up that I should call your show. This is Bob Carr.
How you doing, sir?
And I'm one of the candidates, a Republican, actually, for the United States Senate.
Okay, all right. Well, one of these days we're going to have a candidate forum or something so you can come in and talk about what made you decide to run for U.S. Senate. We're talking right now about this ridiculous congresswoman who decided to make a personal phone call public. What did you think about that?
Well, it wasn't her place. That was between Mr. Trump and the family, and if she heard it, it wasn't for her to talk about. It's it's a very personal phone call.
Right.
So the only reason you would go public, I think, is because you're trying to cause something other than the mother and or the wife and the president having a conversation. It seemed very political to me, and so I would say she probably doesn't. My old professor in college would say, it's not Chanel number 5, it's Corral number 6. And that's sort of how it came off to me.
Right. No, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm going to ask you, like I said, I definitely would like to have you come on at some point and talk about this. What made you decide to run for U.S. Senate?
Well, I won a primary 20 years ago in the largest district in the United States. The problem is I won with too many votes. And Congress didn't go into the Clinton administration. The reason I decided to run is because I think I can win it. The winner against the incumbent takes a very unique candidate. And normal politicians just don't. They'll get to 43%. That's what they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But the candidates who were in, one was going to go back to Washington and lay down the law, and another one's against Debbie because she's a career politician. Debbie should just turn around and say, "Oh, you mean I'm a winner?" But more importantly, I've been doing projects all over the state of Michigan for the last 40 years. So there's 50 or 60 towns I've done projects in. It's time to take care of each community. I know how to do it. and it just works, and people love it. And I also know how to campaign without a lot of money and get 58% of the vote. And these people are all running around, and they're going to spend tons of money, and they're not going to do the hard work. The hard work means you need to get adopted by the voters, and that's a very personal thing.
Okay.
And I have the ability to do that. So my website's electbobcarr.com, because my background would probably explain more what I'm doing.
All right.
And I've done everything in Michigan, from saving the largest state hospital to putting a soup kitchen in Benton Harbor, Michigan, when it was the worst town in America. And it's still there. It's 27 years. We haven't missed a day yet.
Wow.
And it's not about food. That gets them in the door. It's about teaching them responsibility and respect and that kind of thing. You ought to look it up.
All right. Well,
and
Bob.
So now when you know, one more thing, Wayne, when you travel around the outer parts of state of Michigan, you see the towns look very tired, and they don't need to be. But it takes special kind of knowledge to know how to turn those around and get the downtowns back up and running. And so that's what we're going to try to do.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll tell you what. At some point, we're definitely going
to be on the show.
We'll definitely have you come. We'll definitely have you come on and give a clear vision of your campaign. I appreciate you calling in today, sir. Thank you.
Well, it's a nice show. I'm glad I got invited. I hadn't heard it before, I'm sorry to say. But just look up electbobcarr.com and go from there and give me a call. I'll go on every week. Love to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. All
You're
right.
welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, we're gonna take a break real quick, and we'll be back. We got a couple folks still on the line. We got Harry, we got Kathy calling back, and we got my guy, Dr. Mack, who's here for my Sunday installation of the training of the re-education of Wayne Bradley. All right, we'll be back in a minute on the Wayne Bradley Show on 9:10 a.m., your superstation.
Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show.
910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. 910 AM Superstation. We're the hottest station in town. Why? Because when it happens, we talk about it.
Right. So at any point, he can go be who he is. He's Marshall Mathers. He can go up and down the street every day, and it's over. So, but we've always had, good white people on our side, helping us during times of struggle in the movement. So yeah, I don't have a problem with what he said or how he did it. I think he was
very articulate.
Very articulate. I mean, he's amazing with some of his analogies he uses. The one talking about Fantastic Four and with the rocks, because he's talking about the big rock guy and he's orange. I mean, dude is brilliant, man. I mean, you just got to give it up for him as an artist. He's amazing. So for me, I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but no, I don't think he or any other person that hasn't walked in these black shoes can speak for us and what we go through.
910 AM Superstation, the best, the brightest, and the bravest voices of Detroit. If you want to hear the voices of Detroit, look no further than 910 AM Superstation.
That's the part I find a little bit troubling, is him being a minister and using this kind of language.
And as long as you old stepping, fetching, stupid Negroes keep acting like white conservatives care about you, let me say, I'm going to say it on there, Wayne Bradley, you a toy, you a token. You my brother, man. I got love for you. But, man, you are a disgrace to your race. Same with you black people that licking the Democratic booty. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to lick that white booty, man. You said a man of God shouldn't speak like that.
I'm giving you straight reasons why the Republicans are working hard for Detroit.
You haven't given us any reason. We already know the votes aren't there for insurance. That's not going to happen. Y'all did take people's pensions through the emergency manager process. Wayne, where were you? How come you didn't stand with the pensioners, Wayne? How come you didn't stand with the pensioners, Wayne?
You're over-talking me.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I listen all the time. great radio personalities.
The new mobile site is incredible. With the visual live feed, this is a whole new level for community broadcasting. I'm also very impressed with the Bible section present both in a written and audio format. 910 AM has really stepped it up to a whole new level.
Tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media. If the conversation is hot and the lines are jammed, give us a try at 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601. That's 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601.
910 Superstation is off the chisane.
910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit, and we want to hear what you have to say by any means necessary. Be sure to catch Doing the D with Alexander Zonchek right here on 910 AM Superstation.
And you know what that means? Lots of cool stuff. Hey, if you love gospel and jazz and Motown cruises and holiday festival concerts in Monroe, we've got it all right here for you.
I want to say thank you for all you do, all you give us. We, your fans, we just love you. And you know,
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you so much. It's uncomfortable to get compliments to do something that you love doing so much, but I appreciate it.
The voice of Detroit, Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative lyrical radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is.
Welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show on 910 AM, your superstation. We've just had 2 hours full of phone calls, people calling in today. It's just been a good show. I appreciate the folks calling in. You guys are the ones that make the show. I'm just here just a ringleader. You guys are making the show today, so I appreciate everyone that's calling in. The number is 313-209-9000, 313-209-9000. All right, so we're going to go to the folks that have been waiting on the line. We're going to go to Harry. Harry, thank you for calling in.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bradley.
Hi, how you doing?
I was calling to make a couple of points.
Go ahead, sir.
One is that when Mr. Trump made that call, General Kelly was in the room with him.
Yes,
and
he was.
I also heard him say a few times that it was other people in the room also.
Right.
So that call doesn't seem quite as private as you want to make it sound. Next, he called.
Wait a minute. Let's go one by one. There was 2 or 3 people in the room with the president, and there was 1 or 2 people in the room with the widow. The call itself was between.
Wait, stop. She was in her car on the way
to the funeral.
Receive her husband's body at the airport.
Right, okay. But it was.
So she was with family members, and they say the president's calling, so she put it on speaker. Who wouldn't do that in that situation? You're proud of that. So she had to put on speakerphone.
Okay.
So everybody in the car could hear.
Did the president know that? It was a phone call between the president and the widow. Let's stick with the facts. It was a phone call between the president and the widow. That's who it was between. It wasn't between the widow's family and the congresswoman. It was a phone call to the president to the widow. All right, so let's go with that. All right.
Okay.
Next point. You go ahead. Next point.
She chose to put it on speaker because her family was there, and she thought it was something she would want to share with her family.
That's your opinion. We don't know that, but okay, let's go with that. Let's say she did want everyone to hear it.
The congresswoman was with her because she was a family friend, and she was comforting her friend at a time of grievance.
And I'm okay with that. I have established that. I've said that she helped mentor this young man. So again, I agree with that. All right, so
the president didn't know where she was at. And so they were going to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're saying that this congresswoman called the media. No, she didn't. The media was at the airport waiting to do a story on that lady receiving her husband's body.
Did she have to tell the media of the private conversation between the president and her widow?
No, but it was her.
Let's say no. Don't give me the but. It was a no. It's simply a no on that, Harry. No.
I can't share hear my opinion?
No, I'm just saying, but you're acknowledging that. No, she did not have to do that.
No, she didn't.
Okay, go ahead. Let me let you finish. Go ahead.
But still, what? We don't know what questions that the media came up with. The widow might have got out and said, the president just called me on the phone. That would make the media's interest in what the president had to say.
So now we're going to – listen, I don't have a problem with blaming the media for some of this, but what we're saying here is that the congresswoman said that Trump basically said he knew what he signed up for, and that's what upset the widow.
She witnessed the conversation. She heard the conversation.
Did she have? Okay, all right. We're gonna finish it up with this because we got a couple calls here. I want to get them all in before the end of the show. She did not have to do that, and my point is that it was cheap political ploys, and that for again anything that people say about Donald Trump, it gets made up into something bigger than it is.
That's your opinion because you like Mr. Trump.
Is it opinion or is it a fact that people get worked up about every little thing that Donald Trump does? And you turn a big nothing burger into something bigger than it is.
That's an opinion. Because everybody does it. There are people who actually like him.
You don't have to like him. Give him a chance. I mean, liking someone is not a requirement to be president.
They never gave President Obama a chance.
How can you say that? Obama had the protection of most of the media. Look, the only news source that attacked President Obama was Fox News. Other than that,
on his first inauguration night, the Congress was down the street plotting on how they were going to make this man a one-term president. That was on inauguration.
We just talked about that. That was political. That's political theater.
When did they give him his chance that you're talking about?
He had 8 years. That's what I'm talking about. He had 8 years. He had 8 years, Harry, and didn't get very much done for black folks in that 8 years. I'll leave it at that. Okay.
That was his first inauguration night.
He didn't. Just tell me this: did he get a lot done for black folks during his 8 years?
He got as much done as the first black president could get done.
Sounds like a no to me. Sounds like a no to me, Harry. We're gonna go to the next. We're gonna go to our next caller because this is not. I got to get through everybody on the line. We got a lot of folks. I do appreciate you calling in.
I was expecting you to cut me off. Go right ahead.
I didn't cut you off. I gave you 5 minutes. Come on, man.
I hear people saying, "Wait, let me have one more."
All right, go ahead. All right, Harry. I'm gonna give you one just because I'm fair. Because I am a man of fairness. Go ahead. Finish up. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you feel that President Obama was fairly treated the 8 years he was in?
I thought you were going to say something relevant about Donald Trump. Now you're still talking about Obama. We're doing a blast from the past. We're going to the next caller. We're not going to do a blast from the past. Obama is not president anymore. It's Donald Trump time, baby. All right, we're going to the next caller. We're going to go to Kathy. Is this Kathy? Kathy, come on back in. I think this is Kathy that called before. Kathy, how you doing?
Yes, it is. But I'm calling about different topics since you brought up Coleman Young and his campaign for mayor. I will.
What campaign for mayor?
And I'm a proud supporter of Coleman Young for mayor. I believe he has serviced the people in his district very well, and I think he will make a wonderful mayor. And he and the Democrats.
You've probably been a better city council member.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. I think he's too strong of a leader to sit in a position on our city council under the leadership of our current mayor.
So it sounds like he wouldn't be willing to work with the Coleman. He wouldn't work with Duggan, is what you're saying. Too strong, meaning he wouldn't get anything done. He wouldn't work with him. He won't humble himself enough to work with other folks.
No, that's not it. That's not it. I don't think that the mayor is amenable to input from the city council. He wants a city council that's in total agreement with him. But the issue of auto insurance reform, the Detroit Democratic delegation has been fighting for auto insurance reform for years. However, the state has been under Republican control for 8 years.
So were they fighting for it when Granholm was in office? Were they fighting for it when Granholm was in office?
I'm sure they were.
Well, how come they didn't get it done when she was in office? They had 8 years of Granholm and state reps in their charge. So how come they didn't get it done then?
Okay, there is a bipartisan bill that is not being talked about well, because the mayor has been working with the Republican delegation.
That's what leaders
to get auto insurance reform. And the only way to get our rates reduced in that plan is for us to reduce the coverage that we get and to eliminate the catastrophic coverage. The bipartisan bill, which is supported by the Detroit delegation, will prevent redlining, will prevent them from using credit scores, income, educational background, and zip code to determine insurance rates. And there will be a meeting tomorrow in Detroit at Westminster Church on Hubble and Outer Drive, tomorrow 6:30 to 8:30. Anyone who's interested in auto insurance reform, please come to that meeting, sponsored by Sherry Gay Dagnogo.
My girl.
Representative Dagnogo.
That's my girl, too. Now, that might surprise you, but that's my girl. So I'll definitely share that information on my social media. Thank you, Kathy, for calling back in again and sharing some truth here. I got to get to these next callers before the show is over. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right. Okay. All right, we're gonna go to Dr. Mack. You only got a couple minutes to educate me today, sir, but welcome to the show, Dr. Mack.
I'm sorry. How much time did you say I had, Wayne?
I'm gonna give you a few minutes here because we're running short. We got a couple calls, but I'm gonna give you the floor to educate me today. Go ahead, sir.
Well, okay. First of all, Wayne, when you make a statement that you think outside the box and people call and compliment you on that, don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. Because when people tell you that you think outside the box, what they're really telling you is you're not talking about the stuff these black people talk about. You're not talking about police brutality in African Americans.
I do talk about those things, though. I do talk about those things, though, Dr. Mack.
You talk about them in a demeaning, dismissive manner.
I talk about police violence and brutality in a demeaning manner?
Wayne, I have never heard you say, and let me give you the opportunity to say it right now.
Go ahead.
You are in favor of federal legislation that will standardize police standards and conduct in terms of how they deal with citizens. Not this local.
I am not in charge. I don't support any federalization of police in any kind of way. That is not what the federal government should do.
Wait a minute. So Wayne. So you do not believe there should be a federal standard that police have to meet nationwide, correct?
I think that should be a local issue. It should not be a federalized issue.
Wayne. So the answer to my question is no. Wayne. Question number 2. Do you think that when the Supreme Court in 2014 struck down, the need for states and municipalities to clear ahead of time before they change voting laws, do you think that was a good decision of the Supreme Court or was it a bad decision for the Supreme Court?
I'm sorry, what was the ruling on? I didn't hear the last part. Was it on the voting laws or policing?
No. We moved on to question number 2. You've already said you are not in favor of federalized standards for police conduct in the United States of America. You've answered that question. You are not in favor of that. Question number 2. The case was called Shelby versus Holder, all right? A case where the Supreme Court said a large section of the Voting Rights Act of 1964 was unconstitutional.
No, I don't support that. I think that if Republicans actually did a stronger job on outreach, we wouldn't worry about those laws. So there you go.
Wayne, I'm asking a very specific question. Do you agree with that decision or don't you? That's yes or no.
Repeat the question one more time. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dr. Mack. You're talking so fast about this. I don't support anything that makes it harder for black people or anybody to vote. Okay? And so go ahead.
Okay. What Shelby versus Holder did, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, all Republicans, I might add, they said that states and municipalities no longer have to clear changes in their voting rights laws with the Justice Department before they do it. Ever since that opinion came down, you've got Texas, you've got Georgia, you've got North Carolina.
I could go along with you, and I agree with you that that's a problem. So I'm going to agree with you on that. So what next? Give me your next one. I agree with you. That's not a good thing for black voters or voters in general. That's not a good thing.
Okay. Tell me this, Wayne. When you say that you are outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in comprehensive immigration reform?
Yes, I do.
Allows people, for example, okay. So now you agree, for example, that if people have been here through no fault of their own, came as kids, they'll have an opportunity to stay in this country, shouldn't they, Wayne?
Yep, but they should have to do something to earn that, like serving the military or be in school, something. It should be something. I think serving in the military would be the best way to do it, but I do believe to a path to citizenship. Yes, I do.
So Wayne,
I'm reasonable. I'm reasonable and fair, Dr. Mack. You know, I know some of those talking points aren't, but I am.
Well, wait a minute. Talking points. I'm not talking points.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about what people always assume about Republicans, that we're anti-immigration, that we're support. That's not me. So go ahead.
Okay. Wayne, do you realize that President Trump this last week has said he is not going to allow people that are not born in this country who serve in the military to have a path to citizenship? Are you aware of that?
I believe that that's a negotiating ploy right now. Let's see what happens in the end. That's a negotiating tool.
Wayne, George W. Bush said, to his credit, by the way.
My man, George W.
One of the reasons, I hope you agree with what he said about President Trump a few days ago.
He wasn't talking about President Trump. He was talking about policy in general.
Okay. Well,
it was not. They made a point of saying that it was not attacking President Trump. It was talking about the policies and the atmosphere in politics right now.
You know what, Wayne? When a person says, I prefer my heroes not to be captured, they're not talking about anybody. They're just talking in general. Sure they are. Look, Wayne, the bottom line is this, is that George W. Bush said one of the problems we had with 9/11 was we didn't have enough people in for the government that spoke the language. So what he said is look, we've got to start allowing people to have a pathway to work in the government and serve our nation who are not natural-born citizens.
I'm okay with that.
What I'm saying is but Donald Trump is not.
Well, Donald Trump has a different opinion on that. And again, he's not. What I will tell you about Donald Trump is that he's not going to. If that's something that can be negotiated, he's willing to work on a lot of these things. A lot of things he says today is fluid. He's willing to negotiate.
Wayne, you don't understand. That's not a matter of legislation, young man. You don't understand.
He's willing to negotiate. I'm telling you right now that he's willing to negotiate DACA for the wall.
Wayne, he doesn't have to negotiate anything with an executive fiat, Wayne.
He's not trying. Everything doesn't have to be done. Again, he's not trying to be like President Obama and do everything through executive order. He wants to let Congress get some stuff done.
Wayne, of course he is. He is the one that has just said, you aren't listening, Wayne. He has issued an executive order saying, if you are not a natural-born citizen, you are not going to be allowed.
And guess who's going to be forced to have to deal with that now? Congress and the Senate. That's what that's all about. So, hey, listen, Dr. Mack, today I have answered 3 of your questions. I gave you 6 minutes. I've got to get to these. I only got 10 minutes left, and I got 3 or 4 calls left. I appreciate you calling in, but I wanted to prove to you as well that I'm not as bad. I'm not the boogeyman that y'all try to make me out to be sometimes on 910. So thank you very much, Dr. Mack, for calling in. All right, we're going to go to JJ up next. JJ, thank you for calling in.
How you doing, Wayne?
How you doing, sir?
I gotta give you some love.
Thank you. I need a little love here. It gets rough sometimes on this station. I get beat up. I'm everybody's personal pinata at times, but I appreciate the love. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, who said this? Be quick to listen, slow to anger, and slow to speak.
Who said that? You tell me, JJ.
Jesus.
Amen.
Quick to listen. And my brother, you get an A in that. But that one that was yelling, Wayne, what have you done, Wayne? I think he struck out on all 3 of those. Anyways, on the question of Trump, my mama used to tell me it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Okay.
The man's a little rough around the edges. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. That's what I keep telling people. Like, getting mad about him not being sensitive as today's man, as they require us to be. He's from a different generation, and he's just not going to. Obama was a lot more sensitive and caring, and and empathetic. That's just not who Donald Trump is. And at times,
right.
maybe we want that. Maybe that makes us feel better as a country, but that's just not who Donald Trump is. I feel better when Donald Trump is dealing with the enemy than I did with President Obama. I tell you that. I feel, so.
You know what?
That's how I look at it.
I know you're going to start talking about transgender. I'm an ex-Vietnam vet, and
We never really got to that today, but I just, before we even leave on that, I can't believe that they're going to have transgenders in Playboy. Just don't understand it. I don't get that one. Shouldn't there be a magazine for that, like Play Transgender, like instead of Playboy? I mean, play whatever you want to be? I mean, what do you, how do we do this? How do you have Playboy magazine that's supposed to be for hot chicks to be in and turn around and throw a transgender dude into it? Help me out, people. I'm confused.
Okay, I'm gonna help you out here with the military aspect. I mean, just so people understand this, so they don't start ripping on Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got a chain of command. You know what I'm saying? You got the privates to the sergeants, then to the lieutenants, and then to the colonels, and then to the generals. So it starts from the bottom. I want people to think about this. When I was in the service, you had a barracks and an open shower with 15, 20 guys in there, and they're all naked. If you had a girl that thought, because it's all in your brain anyways, that she was a man and came into that shower with them nice big breasts and that tight booty, okay, I guarantee you that she's gonna be yelling rape, 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 and
even for the transgendered woman, huh? She's gonna suffer the same fate, huh?
Right. I mean, and it's going to distract the men. Okay. Now think about this: if the women shower the same way, you got 15 naked women up in there. Okay, and some guy comes in there that thinks he's a girl. How uncomfortable would all those women feel?
Tell you, man, they might as well start making the third bathroom for everybody. Just make everyone happy and create that third bathroom. That's the way I would look at it. I don't. To me, there's no other simple solution to that. Like I said, I wouldn't want guys going into the bathroom with my daughters in, and I wouldn't want my, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm confused. I mean, I'm just a little old school and all of this, but it just makes no sense to me why they would put a transgender in the Playboy magazine. I'm hurt, and I'm going along with my buddy Chris Harris said, moving forward in the future, if you got a son and he's 9-10 years old now, in the next 10 years. You're going to have to start doing chromosome tests on the chicks that they bring to the house. That's how bad it's getting out here nowadays. So,
my brother, it says, train up a child the way they should go. No doctor ever said to a woman, congratulations, you just delivered on it.
There you go.
It's 2 or it's 5 or it's 7 or it's 12 years old to figure out what it wants to be, a girl or a boy.
That's the more of these liberal parents letting their kids decide something. Right. I didn't have any decision making power in my house, my family's house, till I was 18. So I surely couldn't decide I wanted to be a boy or a girl at 12. I don't know what's wrong with these parents nowadays. Stop being your parent. Parents, stop being your kids' friends. And if he's a boy, he's a boy. That's just how we got to roll nowadays in 2017.
Amen. You gotta
put your foot down.
Act like it.
Thanks a lot, JJ, for calling in today, man. I appreciate it. All right, we got like 2 last calls here. Steve's on the line.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
All right, how you doing, Steve?
Good. Hey, I'm a recently retired U.S. Army veteran in the special operations arena. And I personally had to write the letters and make the phone calls to 27 families.
Okay.
Part of the letter that I wrote, or the message I delivered, was we've all known what we were getting into. Okay.
Right.
So for somebody to get on Donald Trump about this, out of line and out of the conversation, really doesn't understand the difference between commander-in-chief and family.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry, but we didn't just, we're not all fat, dumb, and happy walking around going, oh, well, that guy's gone. What's Trump going to say? No. It's a bad loss, any way you look at it.
Right.
But one thing I do want to say is, since coming back to Detroit, as a white gentleman, I feel like the enemy here. I mean, I have never seen so much hatred for the white guy. And I was, granted, I've been gone for 20 years, but I am just...
You feel like the enemy in Detroit now as the white guy? Well, it's only a small group. Hey, I tell you what, you ought to go downtown. You'll feel just as home, Steve. You will feel like it's a new Detroit.
You know what? I live by Wayne State, and
oh, well, you're in Midtown. How can you feel like the enemy in Midtown? You should feel you.
I'll tell you what. Midtown is okay, but you go out in the neighborhoods a little bit, and I am the target.
I understand. Well, I mean, I tell you what, Steve. You know, the neighborhoods are changing too. But if you're in Midtown or downtown, you ought to be good right now. Enjoy New Detroit. This is what I would say. But I appreciate.
It's not as good as you think it is. You know,
I appreciate you.
It all sounds good, you know, going downtown to eat at the diners and all that.
The Wahlburgers and stuff, you know, $7 hamburgers. You know, that's New Detroit, man. So, hey, look, Steve, I do appreciate you calling in and giving your stories in terms of the military service. And I'm going to clip that and repost that because I think people need to understand how serious this is. And it's just disgusting to see the way that they have made this a political event, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much for calling in today, Steve. All right, I think we're running out of time here. I mean, we don't even have time to take all these calls today. I apologize. Walter, you're on the line. Thank you for calling back in. Marcella, thank you. I apologize for not taking your call today, but if you get a chance, listen in during the week, 5 to 7 a.m. every morning on the Wayne Bradley Show. You can also get my show on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes as well.